Good evening. A roller coaster week on Capitol Hill gets even bumpier, with FBI agents now taking an interest in what's happening.
Our chief investigative reporter Phil Williams and Chris Conti join us now to break down disturbing new details in the Capitol Hill controversy. This evening, lawmakers on both sides of the aisle want House Speaker Glenn Cassada to resign.
If you can't go into his office and trust him to tell you the truth and walk out of it, then he's the wrong person in that office. He should resign, and if he won't, then the members of the House should do what's necessary to remove him as Speaker.
Meanwhile, we've learned that the FBI is now starting to dig into the session's most controversial vote. Phil Williams has the exclusive details. Phil.
Well, Vicki, that vote was the vote to pass Governor Bill Lee's school vouchers plan, and it has now captured the FBI's attention. That vouchers legislation narrowly passed the state house last month on a 50-48 vote. The vote was initially deadlocked 49-49, and House Speaker Glenn Cassada kept the vote open for 40 minutes until he convinced Representative Jason Zachary of Knoxville to switch his vote. Now NewsChannel 5 Investigates has learned that FBI agents have begun interviewing legislators about whether any improper incentives were offered to pass the bill.
The voucher bill failed on this floor, and it was only through trickery by Speaker Cassada that bill was held for 40 minutes. The people's will rejected, and the bill ultimately passed by flipping Jason Zachary's vote.
Zachary has admitted that Cassada won his vote by agreeing to take Knox County out of the bill. That would not be illegal. Still, others say there was talk of incentives. In one case, Cassada's chief of staff, Kate Cothran, went to Representative David Hawk, a Greenville Republican. Hawk says Cothran said, "The Speaker and I need your vote on the voucher bill. What do you want?" He added, "I told Kate, you and the Speaker have nothing that I want." Representative Bob Ramsey from Maryville said the suggestion was that this could favorably affect revenue expectations in my district eventually, but no specific numbers were mentioned. Both men said they had not been contacted by FBI agents.
Who was aware that this existed?
All of this comes as the House Democratic Caucus has asked for a federal investigation of whether Cassada or anyone in the Speaker's office may have illegally eavesdropped on private meetings at the Capitol. And members of the Black Caucus have asked for a TBI investigation about whether Cassada's office may have altered an email to try to frame a black activist. Now, we should note that we cannot say whether this is just a preliminary inquiry or something more than that. The FBI declined to comment, and Speaker Cassada also did not respond to a text that I sent him earlier in the day for comment. Now, of course, tonight the lingering question at the Capitol is, can Glenn Cassada continue to lead effectively? A growing number of lawmakers now say he needs to go. Chris Conti continues our coverage, and Chris, lawmakers are weighing their options right now.
And Phil, there are really two things that lawmakers at the Capitol are struggling with tonight. The first is the sexual nature of those texts that Cassada sent. Some lawmakers seem to indicate that they might be able to forgive those, but it was the lying and the apparent attempt at a cover-up that has now lost Glenn Cassada a lot of his support.
Properly moved and properly seconded.
Inside the halls of the Capitol today, there was one person noticeably missing.
Capital projects 1 through 13, which
the State Building Commission, House Speaker Glenn Cassada was a no-show. But his noticeable absence did not do much to quiet the voices calling for his resignation.
From the evidence we see, and it's uncontradicted at this point, he willfully lied.
John Harris is the executive director of the Tennessee Firearms Association. Not surprisingly, they're a very conservative-leaning group.
It's very disappointing. It's not necessarily surprising that he did it.
In light of revelations that Speaker Cassada sent sexually explicit texts to his former chief of staff,
what else are they making up?
Then lied about it and tried to blame the whole thing on Channel 5, this group, which once supported Cassada, is supporting him no more.
If you can't go into his office and trust him to tell you the truth and walk out of it, then he's the wrong person in that office. He should resign, and if he won't, then the members of the House should do what's necessary to remove him as Speaker.
It's really up to the House and to the Speaker of the House.
Cassada also lost support of Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally today. Or what bothers you the most about what's happened in the last few days?
Well, a lot's happened. and there's a lot to be disappointed about, but probably the language and the attitude, I think, is probably what disappointed me the most.
McNally oversees the Senate and has no control over whether Cassida stays or goes. But when the state's second-ranking politician says this,
If I was in that deep water, I think I'd just go home.
it is hard not to wonder if many more voices will join him. Just within the last few minutes, we've learned some Republicans are trying to begin the process to have Speaker Cassida removed. Representative Jason Zachary, a Republican from Knoxville, said on Twitter that he is formally requesting for his caucus to meet. He's not calling on Cassida to resign, but there is only one way for the House Speaker to be removed. That's in a special session, and that can either be called by the governor or a 2/3 majority petition by House members. Guys?